and Coast Keto. I am on day 3 of my fasting mimicking diet. The start of the new year, 2020. I knew I needed a reboot to get kind of a little bit of a cleanse. I did some carving up during the holidays, so I'm following this fasting mimicking diet, which actually does keep me in ketosis. It's an unusual diet that I've tried once before. It's only for 5 days on day 3. And I will share more on the details of what that fasting mimicking diet means. But in a nutshell, it's very low calorie, about 725 a day. And then it's a specific combination of macros. So very low protein, high carb, higher fat. And it tricks your body into thinking you're fasting. So there's some benefits to that. So what I'm making tonight fits all those macros. I do a little bit of trial and error to make sure I get all the macros correct, like the correct percent of carbs and protein and fats and calories. So there is a little bit of work involved in figuring it out. But I'm having fun doing it actually because I love to cook. So what tonight I'm doing tonight is a pho. So I love pho. And I'm using this pho broth I found at the market. It's going to have onions, bell pepper, portobello mushroom, basil, some broccoli, fresh ginger, garlic. And then for the noodles, I'm using these. Some places call them miracle noodles. They're made with this, I am not even going to try to pronounce that, some kind of Asian flour that has, actually when you're on keto and not following this diet, but when you're following the true keto diet, it has net 0 carbs for half a pack. So it's kind of an unusual texture, and some people can't get past the texture. It's a little rubbery. I'm trying to get it out of the bag. So it comes in this pouch. It's packed in like a water, and they're already softish. You rinse them really, really good, like several times. Some people stir fry them. I'm just going to throw them in my soup. So that's what I'm going to get started on tonight, is some vegetable pho. So I'll show you as I go. All right, so I'm ready to make the soup. I have a tablespoon of butter in here. And then I'm going to put a tablespoon of, so you can see a little bit what I'm doing. This is a tablespoon of sesame oil. Since I'm making this kind of an Asian pho style soup, I thought the two together would be nice. And then I'm going to put my vegetables into the oil to kind of toast them up a little bit. I like that flavor. So first I'm going to do the bell pepper. So there's a lot of ways to take seeds out of a bell pepper. This one actually doesn't hardly have any seeds in it. So I need a cup of bell pepper. And this bell pepper looks like it's about the right size to be 1 cup. Kind of eyeballing it. And I'm putting in, when you are sauteing vegetables, you start with the ones that take longest to cook. If you throw them all in at the same time, some will be more cooked than others, some will be undercooked. So I'm going to start with the bell peppers, then I'm going to throw in the green onion, then the mushroom, and then we'll do that. We'll cook that for just a few minutes, and then we'll add the rest of the liquids and the seasoning. Let it cook for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, longer if you want. That's what I love about soup. Longer is better, but if you are short on time, you can crank the fire up and eat sooner. Okay, so that looks to be about a cup of bell pepper. Try to cut them about the same size so that they cook about at the same rate of speed. So I'm going to toss those in. It smells really good, that toasty sesame oil. Smells really good. So I'm putting those in, get it started. Then I'll just start working on chopping my other vegetables. So next I have some green onion, and I've washed all the veggies before I started. The other I have is, maybe I'll get that next. I forgot about that. I have 85 grams of broccoli. So I'll cut that up and get that cooking. So that goes in here. And then for my family that isn't doing the fasting mimicking diet, which children don't need to do that, they're children, I'm making burgers for them. So I have to deploy more willpower than a lot of people do when they're on a diet, because I've got my kids that eat one way. You know, I try when I'm not doing this, when I make keto food, they generally do kind of eat that style with me. They'll have the meat and then maybe they'll have a baked potato. But they eat the meat and they eat the vegetables, so, you know, I don't feel bad about that. Okay, so next is the green onion. Let's get that chopped up. Okay. That in. Alrighty. We'll do one more. So that's 2 green onions that I'm doing. Okay. Let me get my spoon. So we're gonna just toss that in the oil and let it go for a little bit. Okay. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is chop up my portobello mushroom. So I'm using 4 ounces of mushroom, and this 4 ounces is 1 mushroom. And as you can see, it has the gills on the inside and the stem. Some people remove it. I like it. It tastes just like a mushroom, so I keep it. It can make your, you know, dish a little darker, but I really don't care. It's soup. So I suppose if I was making like a pasta dish that had a white cream sauce, I may not like the dark gills in it, but I don't eat pasta very often. Okay. So next up, we're going to mince up this basil. The basil is kind of one of those ingredients that really tasty in a pho soup. I don't know if you've ever had pho, but it's a yummy soup. So I'm going to let these vegetables cook a little bit longer. Maybe, yeah, I like them to have some time on the heat before you put in the liquid. It makes the soup taste even better when it's really has some time to kind of brown a little bit. So I'm going to let this sit there a few minutes and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have the vegetables that have been sauteing in the butter and the sesame oil for a little bit, for about 5 minutes. Now the next thing I'm going to add, and I'll show you, these are called miracle noodles. They come in a pouch sealed in this liquid. So I rinse them a bunch of times. They are very, very, very low carb. If you do net carbs, they are 0. It's 6, and it's, I think it's 15 calories for half a package. So I'm going to add those noodles. They look like ramen, you know, in the little pouches you get, the dehydrated noodles. That's what they look like. Okay. But when you get them in this pouch, they're sealed in this little pouch with liquid. That's what they look like. They're soft. They're not crunchy and hard like the ramen. So I'm going to stir that up a little bit and then add the pho broth. I'm going to add this whole container. It's only, because I'm doing the fasting mimicking diet, everything is about low calorie. This is only 10 calories a cup. So I'm going to put the whole thing in, which is 4 cups. All right. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to put in some seasonings. I'm going to do about a half a teaspoon of salt. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, black pepper. Let's see, garlic. We will do a teaspoon of garlic. I love garlic. Okay. And then we'll throw in our basil, our fresh chopped basil. The last thing I want to do is this, I like fresh ginger. So I'm just going to peel off a little bit of the skin of a fresh ginger root. Okay, and then grate up about a teaspoon of fresh ginger. That looks good. Okay. So I don't want that peel in there. Okay, so it's about a teaspoon of fresh ginger. It doesn't have to be exact. You know, it's soup, so it can be forgiving. You can add a little more, little more liquid if it's too, you know, too spiced. Oh, that reminds me. I love spicy food, so I'm gonna add some red pepper flake. And then when I'm ready to eat it, I'm gonna chop up some like really thinly sliced jalapeno and put some of that on there. So that is how I made my vegetable pho. That is my, I think this is the, this is the third day of my fasting mimicking diet, but this is the fourth meal that I've made in this series. So you're gonna find that on my YouTube video channel. And then if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Bye, everybody.